This is an urgent appeal from the Disasters Emergency Committee. Hundreds of thousands of people have fled their homes to escape conflict in Ukraine, leaving jobs, belongings and loved ones behind. They need shelter, food and water. You can help. To donate online, search DEC or text radio to 70150 to give £10. Thank you.
Streaming 24/7, this is Brum Radio.
Thank you for downloading this Brum Radio podcast. For more podcasts, visit brumradio.com.
I'm Dave Massey. I'm joined on the telephone by Elizabeth Lawal, who is founder of More Than a Moment, who is created a festival coming to Birmingham Hippodrome called Beautiful Futures Festival. It's at Birmingham Hippodrome from the 19th until the 21st of October, which is this week. That suddenly sounds very close by. Good afternoon, Elizabeth. How are you doing?
Hiya, I am good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really thrilled to be chatting to you about this project today. I'm recording from my house as we're doing this interview, so if you hear crazy things going on in the street, that's just the street happening outside the window. Are you in Birmingham as we have this conversation?
Yes, I'm actually in my at home as well. So
fantastic.
Yeah, I'm in Smedic.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's not too far from Birmingham City Centre.
We did have a bit of a conversation in the summer about when you were working with Birmingham Festival 23 about More Than a Moment. Yes. Can you tell us about Beautiful Futures Festival, what it is and how it interconnected with Birmingham Festival 23 and more about it, really?
Sure thing. So I'll start off with what is Beautiful Futures Festival. So Beautiful Futures Festival is a 3-day festival which explores how do we upskill together, how do we reimagine the 21st century, and how do we thrive in practice. Essentially, the world is in a really challenging and sticky place, and there is one thing that's really powerful about culture and the role of culture in times like this. You know, how do we hear voices that are underrepresented and underserved, and how do we collectively come together to say, actually, what solutions can we create and build, and how do we reimagine a future that works for everyone right now? Because the present seems to be very sticky, and actually that's the birth of More Than a Moment and the journey of More Than a Moment. So during Black Lives Matter, I was working as a producer in the culture sector, and you know, after experiencing the murder of George Floyd, it was really heavy on my spirit. You know, yes. I really wanted to say, actually, what can we do as a collective, as a sector, to make sure that nobody is left behind? And so, you know, about 100 organisations said, okay, yes, we want to do anything we can in support. They signed up to the More Than a Moment pledge, which was co-designed and co-created with the Black creative workforce and leadership from the culture sector. Every single year we've held a summit to measure progress and change across the sector, and now we're thinking, okay, you know, Black Lives Matter was a really difficult time, and it was also within the pandemic. We're out of that, but we're still in a difficult time. What does the future look like? How do we all collectively come together, from regardless of what walk of life that you're in, and how do we do things differently in the century that we have? And that really connects to my role as artistic associate in Festival 23. I kind of had two tasks, which was to make sure that the programme was representative of the city that we serve, but also make sure that actually you know, the stories we're telling were really reflecting, you know, Birmingham, because Birmingham is such a beautiful and creative and diverse city. And so that's kind of like, that was one of my areas of focus. The second area of focus was to develop a creative project. And so I kind of created two. One was the Commons, which was, again, how do we, from different sectors, different industries, different walks of life, come together to actually talk about the legacy of empire in the Commonwealth, and how we build a beautiful future. And this conversation has really inspired. That conversation has really inspired this entire festival. The second project that I did was called Empires, Pioneers and the New Radicals. And it was taking 10, it was an augmented reality walking tour which looked at Birmingham from the 18th century during the colonial era to the 21st century. And we followed the journey of 10 beautiful, amazing change makers who changed the world as we knew it. And that history, and Birmingham's history, of justice and change and innovation has really sort of carried through and inspired, the premise of Beautiful Futures Festival. It's connecting the past, the present to the future, and holding us all responsible to leave a legacy where, everyone can thrive through solidarity, through, justice, through, most importantly, innovation. So that's kind of like the story of the festival,
amazing,
and what it is and why I'm doing it now.
And this festival, it nurtures new people, and people perhaps that haven't really thought that they could go into creativity themselves. How do you reach out to those people who maybe like sit at home and are on their phones or hanging around with their mates in the park? I view them as being quite young, you see, but they don't have to be young, do they? They can be, can they be older as well, or are they generally younger people?
Yeah, so the festival is happening over 3 days.
Yeah.
For the first day, if you're an artist, if you're creative, if you're a filmmaker, if you're part of the sort of underrepresented community, that you want to play a role in the festival, come in 12 till 5, come to the Hippodrome. Really want you to come and learn from people who have gone before you and who are sharing their skill and practice. So this is for everyone, for sort of specifically black and underrepresented artists and creatives. On the second day is the summit day. So I mentioned earlier about 100 organisations signed up to the More Than a Moment pledge 3 years ago, and we're collaborating with Culture Central.
Yes.
To basically take this question and really open it up and say, actually, how do we embrace lots of different underserved communities and reimagine a thriving culture sector, one that works for everyone. So we're looking at bringing different sectors together, different voices together, and trying to reimagine together. So if you're interested in actually what could the shape and the future of culture look like in the 21st century now, come along to that. We've got a really, really amazing program. So yeah, really, really, you can check the More Than a Moment website to look at the program. But I'm really excited with the speakers. We've got even Ray Dean from Festival 23 is coming. We've got Dr. Justin Varney from Birmingham City Council. We also have some incredible artists and creatives like Michaela Sinead, who's exploring create tech and innovation from Bomb Lab, and she's going to be talking about Game Joy. We're talking about, what are the unlimited possibilities and how do we reshape this culture. So that's the Friday daytime, and then Friday night, if you're not interested in shaping culture, it's very industry focused. We've got some comedy for you to come along to, and that's been curated by Cassandra Maria, who's a comedian. That is for everyone to come along to. And then on Saturday, we have such a beautiful programme. So we've got films curated by Film Birmingham happening in the morning. You've got in conversation with two theatre makers who are taking their career to the next level, Nathan Quealy-Dennis and Ashley Elizabeth Lawal, who've taken 2 shows to the Fringe.
Fantastic.
And then we've got 2 poetry takeovers. The first one with Casey Bailey and Ajay's son, and they're exploring Out to Frame, and then
Brilliant.
we've got Empower Poetry, who are doing a takeover. We've got a feature from Penguin Books as well. And then if you're not a fan of words, but you're a fan of sounds, we've got a takeover from Girl Grind UK,
Yep.
and also I Am West Midlands, who are doing a whole takeover exploring, a musical takeover exploring the journey of the Windrush generation. It's jam-packed.
That's brilliant. And how would you describe the space at the Hippodrome that you'll be taking over? I believe it's the Patrick Studio.
Yes.
How would you describe it for someone that maybe hasn't been there before?
If you have never been to the Patrick Studio before, I would like you to imagine walking into the Hippodrome, the atrium space, and you'll hear music from a DJ straight away. You're going to see some stalls as well, and then once you enter the space, you're going to be flooded with so many beautiful sounds and colours, some chairs and tables for you to sit around, and there's going to be a huge screen for you to watch some of the film, and there's also like a performance area for the band and live music. Also, I forgot to mention, if you're a fan of open mic as well, you can come perform your own poetry.
Brilliant.
So it's going to be a groundswell of activities, and if none of that is interesting to you and you still want to come along, and we've also got a free programme where we're doing the Commons again.
Yes.
So we are asking everyone to come along to that as well. So there literally is something for absolutely everyone.
And it sounds really exciting. I'm really thrilled that this project has reached this point where it's a festival that people can come and visit at the Hippodrome. It just sounds really fantastic. And there's so many different elements, as you say, that people can get involved with as they wish as well. If I was to ask you about what you thought this project would look like in 5 years' time,
Oh my gosh.
do you
Okay.
do you think that's maybe some of the people that were coming along for the first time out of curiosity might be those people that then are your performers in the future? And how would that feel if that was the circle that took?
Oh my gosh. That would be absolutely incredible. One of the things that's really important to me is how we can collaborate as an ecosystem. And what I mean by that is 10 years ago, I moved to Birmingham for uni, study theatre. But I, as much as I love my course, I fell in love with the city, and then
Yes.
we were young people just making poetry, music, theatre, and dreaming about how we could change the world together. And so, if this festival plants that seed for the next generation of artists and creatives, I would go to bed a very happy person.
Amazing.
To be honest.
Yeah.
And if anyone wants, some tools, some ideas of how to do this,
Yeah.
hopefully come along. I hope that this is an opportunity that we can bring everyone together and really build an ecosystem so that we can start supporting and nurturing talent and continue to do that. That would be absolutely a dream.
I always wish that there were projects of this nature around when I was a teenager and going into my 20s, because I would have dragged my friends along to festivals like this and shown them how they could have a place in society as a creative industry. Because to me, creative industry always feels, and I think I said this to you before, it always feels like it's a little bit posh.
Yeah.
And it always feels like it's something that people who have got working class background don't generally have an easy access to. So to see this project come to fruition like this, it's really exciting. And I'm really thrilled to be able to share about it and have you tell me about it as well. I think that's brilliant.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I know that they're all so very tiring, these festivals, so I can only imagine how knackered you're going to be after the weekend as well. But you should be very proud of yourself for doing this, because I think it's very exciting.
3 years ago, More Than a Moment was born during the Black Lives Matter movement.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, it was the pandemic, where the world was closed and it felt like a very hopeless time. I'd experienced the murder of George Floyd, and I really wanted to, see what we could do to make a change for everyone. and that led to the birth of the More Than a Moment movement, which was started with, by and for the Black creative workforce. And I really wanted to acknowledge that this, if it wasn't for those people who had aired out who shared their experiences, who shared their desire for change, but also their desire for hope, for a better creative sector that actually works, then this wouldn't exist. And since then, over the last 2 years, I've kind of been soul searching.
Yeah.
And what More Than a Moment is now is a creative agency, consultancy, and an innovation lab. And our mission is to end inequality,
Yes.
cultural, civic, and economic inequality through innovation in the 21st century. And this festival starts that conversation. You know, in times of crisis, in times of challenge, how can we reach out to every single community, hear lots of different voices, but also how do we collaborate with industries so that we can design a future that works for everyone? This is why we need to build a beautiful future. And that is the heartbeat of what this festival is all about.
You can see the festival, Beautiful Futures Festival, with More Than a Moment from 19th to 21st of October. Visit birminghamhippodrome.com, click on the What's On, and it's already there as well. And then if you check out the website mtamgroup.co and then look at the festival details on there, it has all the details on. That's your guys' website, isn't it?
Yes, that is our website.
That's brilliant. Elizabeth, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to me about this today.
Thank you so much.
I'm really thrilled to be sharing about it. You can, as I say, check out those details on those websites there. The dates again, 19th to the 21st of October.
Thank you for listening to this Brum Radio podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and rate us on your podcast app.